Have you recently scheduled your prolapse repair surgery and now you're sitting here wondering, what do I do now? There are actually several things that you need to get done ahead of time to make sure that you are optimizing yourself for recovery after prolapse repair surgery. My name is Dr. Brooke Kalisiak. I'm a pelvic physical therapist who is passionate about helping women optimize their body for recovery after surgery. And today I'm going to go through step by step the checklist that you need to walk through ahead of your prolapse repair surgery to make sure that you are ready to recover at your best. Once you schedule your surgery, it is now time to prepare your body. First thing you can do is make sure that you're staying properly hydrated. Hydrated tissues are going to recover better and faster than dehydrated ones. You also want to make sure that you're taking in adequate amounts of protein. Amino acids, which make up the macronutrient protein, are the building blocks that help us to repair our tissues after surgery. So we want to make sure that we're getting that in, and that can be in the form of whole foods or in protein powders or shakes, whatever is easiest for you to make sure that you're getting in adequate amounts of protein. You also want to be moving your body so that we're working your muscles and your cardiovascular systems, and you want to do this to your tolerance level. Don't force through anything that's causing pain or extra discomfort, but this is not a time frame to be sedentary. You want to think about moving as comfortably as possible, and for many people this is as simple as trying to go for daily walks to get the blood flowing. If you are one who drinks alcohol, you want to think about limiting or stopping alcohol consumption completely during this time to help optimize for recovery. And if you are a smoker, you want to think about stopping smoking completely or at least limiting it as much as possible during this time frame. Tissues of smokers do not recover from surgery as quickly as tissues of non-smokers. Once you've thought about getting your body prepared for surgery, it is now time to think about getting all necessary errands done ahead of time. So ahead of the surgery, think about getting all of your prescription medications refilled so you don't run out during recovery time. Think about creating a grocery list and going grocery shopping ahead of time to make sure that your refrigerator, pantry, house is fully stocked with the foods you need for recovery. You want to think about meal prepping so that you've got nice, healthy meals available to you that are easy to make, or that you at least have someone there ready to make meals for you after your surgery. If you have a gym membership, this is a good time to put that membership on hold because you won't be able to use it for the 2 to 3 months after surgery, depending on what's going on. So might not want to be spending the money on that gym membership and be able to just put it on hold instead. And you also want to think about getting any necessary items that you might need in and around the house to help you with recovery, purchased and in the home ahead of your surgery. Let's talk about some of the items you're going to want to have in your home to help you with recovery after surgery. I always recommend people have a variety of sizes of heating packs and ice packs to help manage post-operative pain. Other things to manage post-operative pain are probably prescription medications or other medications that the doctor recommends to use after surgery, and thinking about any type of stool softener or hemorrhoid cream. These are, again, things that your surgeon will probably talk you through, but are all there to help manage your comfort level and make sure that you are having good bowel movements that are soft and smooth, so that we diminish the amount of stress and strain through the area and thus diminish pain through the area. You're definitely going to want to have like sanitary pads or even maybe like an adult diaper in those first couple of days, because there will be discharge and that can help keep that more contained and feeling more comfortable. You're going to want big, comfortable underwear. This is not the time for thongs or tight-fitting undies. You want a nice, relaxed, comfy cotton underwear during this recovery period. You want to think about having big, relaxed, comfy sweats to be in. This is, again, not a time to put on tight-fitting leggings or clothing. You want very relaxed fitting, comfortable things to make this recovery time happen a little bit more easily. Back on the bowel side of things, You definitely going to want some type of a stool, or you guys all know I'm a huge fan of the squatty potty. That's going to help the bowel movements happen a little bit easier. Many people find using a peri bottle to kind of squeeze warm water over the perineum and be able to kind of wash themselves that area and be able to pat dry can feel more comfortable than having to do a lot of wiping afterwards. So a peri bottle, especially one that has kind of an angled neck, can make it easier to kind of squeeze the warm water up into the perineum and make that feel better. You might want to have a small basket that you can carry your stuff around with you, that basket, so that you're kind of keeping everything focal in a common area. And in that basket can be like some of your favorite snacks, water bottle so that you're staying hydrated, magazines, crossword puzzles, word searches, things for entertainment. It may sound crazy, but put your TV remote in there so that you know where to find it, your phone and your phone chargers with the wires already plugged into the wall. So all you have to do is just kind of plug that in easily and make sure that you're not having to do a lot of bending and twisting. That can also be helpful. Some people find it helpful to have like a grabber to help pick up things off the ground because the bend and the twist can be uncomfortable. So all of these are items to consider having in place. Not everyone is going to need to use all of them, but it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. I didn't talk about this one on the list of items that you need to get ahead of surgery because most people are going to have this around their house, but you're going to want to have some type of a pillow. This one might be a little large, but it's the one I have here to show you, or a stuffed animal or a rolled up blanket, something that you can use to put across your abdomen to help support. This isn't something that you're going to need all the time, but many people in the first couple of weeks after surgery find that when they cough or sneeze or even laugh harder, that can be kind of uncomfortable on that abdominal wall. So if you've got something that you can kind of put in front of that wall and kind of support in when that cough or sneeze happens, that support over that area can feel more comfortable. So again, I would think about keeping this in areas where you're going to commonly be. If there's a spot in your living room or a spot in your bedroom where you can have your pillow at the ready, just you can quick grab it and use it as you needed, that can really help to make things more comfortable when you've got a more forceful situation like a cough or a sneeze happening. Now you need to think about readying your house so that you have a safe, comfortable environment to recover in after your surgery. Think about decluttering common areas where you're going to be. Bathroom, bedroom, living room, kitchen. We want to make sure you have a clear path to all of these areas. So getting up throw rugs or any clutter that might be blocking the path to make it safe and easy for you to access these areas when you're not going to feel very comfortable being mobile in those first couple of days. If you own a 2-story or a multi-story home in the first couple of days post-op, you might think about trying to make your home base all on one level, or at the very least, if your bedroom's upstairs, that you start the day in your bedroom, you come down into the living room, family room, kitchen area for the majority of the day, and then just go back up to your bedroom at the end of the day. Lots of up and down on the steps can be really trying in those first couple days. So I might recommend that you kind of make your base all on one level. Wherever your home base is, many people have two, kind of their bedroom and like a family room. Think about setting up a comfort station there. We already talked about having things all together in a basket or a bag that you can carry so it's easy to go from place to place. And just as a refresher, we talked about having water bottle, snacks, phone and phone chargers, iPad, magazines, other books to read, other entertainment things, television remote, potentially even having a blanket or a sweater in case temperature changes, but anything to make things comfortable so that it's easy to reach and easy to take with you. The last thing you want to do is get upstairs and realize, oh goodness, I left my phone and my book downstairs. Now I got to go back downstairs. You want to keep it all together in one place so it goes easily with you. Think about keeping things at waist height that you're going to commonly use. So don't get that comfort basket and put it down on the floor. It should live next to you on the end table or next to you on the couch so that it's about waist high. Put your favorite foods and snacks waist high in the kitchen area and in the refrigerator so that you're not having to do a lot of bending and stooping to lift things because you're not going to want to do that in the first couple of weeks. You want to make sure that your bathroom is set up and ready for you. So we already talked about potentially purchasing a squatty potty or having a stool in the bathroom to make it easier for you to poop. You probably want to have a peri bottle present to go ahead and use the warm water to wash the area instead of feeling like you need to wipe. So having that present and ready in your bathroom is going to make the recovery on that side of things much easier as well. Next, you need to think about putting your support team in place. Who's driving you to and from surgery? Who is going to be with you, staying with you in those first couple of days post-operatively? Who's making meals for you? Who's going to drive you to your post-op appointments because you're not going to feel like driving in those early days? If you have pets, who is taking care of your pets? Is someone coming over to walk the dog and to change the cat litter? Or do you need to consider hiring or boarding the dog or the cat while you're in those early days of recovering? You really want to make sure that you have all of your members of your support team in place ahead of surgery and that they all know what their job is to help you with your recovery. The next task on your pre-operative checklist is to schedule your pre-op pelvic PT appointment. Now you may be saying, wait a minute, I'm having surgery. Why do I need to schedule a pelvic PT appointment? But this pre-operative appointment can set you up for your best recovery possible. So we recommend scheduling this appointment at about the 4-week mark ahead of your surgery. It can be done closer to the surgery, but if you do it about a month out, that gives you a chance to work on any potential problem areas ahead of time. At this appointment, the physical therapist will use this time to get a baseline measure of how strong you are, how well you're engaging your abdominal muscles using your pelvic floor, how things are coordinating together with your breathing. We're going to get a whole big picture of what's going on with the muscles in and around the pelvic area. And we're going to be able to identify some potentially dysfunctional patterns that you're going to want to change ahead of the surgery. Two of the most common things that we see that can actually lead people to needing to have these surgeries is excessive bearing down. So where they're really straining through everything and putting a lot of pressure down through the pelvic floor area. Or when someone kind of consistently breath holds, especially with like exertion. So getting up and down from a chair when they lift stuff. All of these can put extra pressure down through that healing surgical tissue. And that's not something we want to do, especially in the early weeks. So if we identify those patterns early on, ahead of the surgery, and can get you changing them, it's going to set you up for a better recovery afterwards. We can also walk through simple changes that you can do for common day-to-day tasks like getting up and down from a chair, rolling over in bed, getting in and out of a car, because these tasks can actually become painful and hard to do in those early weeks post-operatively, but there's simple changes that you can learn, and if you practice them ahead of time, it makes it that much easier during that post-operative period. So don't skip on the preoperative pelvic PT appointment, and know that you may have to ask your doctor for this referral. They may not bring it up themselves because it is not as commonplace as we would like it to be that patients are referred to pelvic physical therapy preoperatively. And definitely if you're not referred in the postoperative period, we do recommend you reaching out to a pelvic physical therapy company and scheduling a postoperative pelvic physical therapy assessment that usually occurs at around the 6-week post-op period, because it is very important that we reevaluate or evaluate for the first time what is going on with the core and the pelvic floor muscles to make sure that we optimize your recovery and that you're not putting too much stress and strain through this new surgical tissue so that it is optimized for healing and also setting yourself up for long-term lasting results. We unfortunately see a lot of people have complications 5 or 10 years down the road from these surgeries, and a lot of this can be avoided by someone going to pelvic physical therapy afterwards for a couple weeks to make sure that they learn proper movement habits. So let's do a quick summary of your preoperative task checklist. Prepare your body. Ready your home. Complete all necessary errands, including buying items that may be helpful for your recovery. Get your support team in place and schedule your preoperative pelvic physical therapy appointment. If you make your way through that checklist ahead of your upcoming surgery, you are going to set yourself up for success. Hopefully, this preoperative checklist has opened your eyes to some of the things that you need to get done ahead of your surgery and has made you feel more confident with your upcoming recovery. If you would like more tips on how best to recover from your prolapse surgery, I suggest watching our 7 tips for recovering from prolapse surgery video next. Or if you're local to St. Louis, we hope you considering come visiting us here at Legacy Physical Therapy, where as your pelvic physical therapist, we can tailor-made a program for you to help you with your recovery.
Thank you for watching our video. We hope you found it informative. We put out weekly content on pelvic health topics because we want people to be able to optimize their pelvic health throughout their lifetime. Make sure you like and subscribe our channel so that you're alerted when our next video becomes available.